Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're doing this problem called Find the Pivot Index 724, LeetCode problem easy. So let's get right into it. So given an integer array named nums, calculate the pivot index of this array. And they explain the pivot index. So the pivot index is the index where the sum of all the numbers strictly to the left of the index is equal to the sum of all numbers strictly to the right of the index. Index is right. Interesting. So that's very interesting. Okay, so if the index is on the left edge of the array, then the left sum is 0 because there are no elements to the left. This applies to the right edge of the array as well. Return the leftmost pivot index if no such index exists. Return the leftmost pivot index. If no such index exists, return -1. Okay, so that's something to think about. This is actually a great problem because it's kind of interesting. All right, so input and then, oh yeah, so first off, let's get the input and output. And just take note of it. So we're given integer array nums. So nums, which is an int array. And then anything about the output. Yeah, so we're going to output leftmost pivot index is an int. Otherwise, if none, otherwise -1. So I think the most important part of the problem is just like understanding it, right? So let's just take note of what a pivot index is in my words. So what is a pivot index? Is the index where the sum of all numbers straight to the left of it? Oh, is equal. Oh, is equal. Okay, so pivot index is the index where the sum of all numbers straight to the left of the index is equal to the sum. Okay, so sum of left is equal to sum of right. Okay, I like to write like this. Sum of left is equal to sum of all right. I'm pretty sure this excludes excluding a value at nums at I. Pi for pivot index. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So um that's really interesting. Hmm. Hold up, I need to do something. I am back. So where were we? Pivot index, left swing sum. Um, yeah, okay. So, that's a good thing to note. Okay, so, um, I think I'm going to use an example from theirs first so I can kind of make sure I do understand the problem. So, okay, so they gave us an example, where nums equal to all this 173656, right? And then the output's 3. The pivot index is 3, so they mean that 0, 1, 2, 3. So that means that this 6, that it's fine, right? So they say that left sum is 8, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then the sum on the right is also 11, so it does exclude the index, or the element at the pivot index. So okay, so that makes sense. Okay. Okay, hmm. Okay, so that's cool. All right. So let me think. I'm thinking about a way how to solve this problem. So I guess first we just gotta go through some examples more to kind of showcase it. All right, so let's say we have, I guess let's make it easy for me. So 5, 5, 1, 5, 5. Okay. So here, obviously the pivot index will be 2, because to the left of here is 10, and to the right of here is also 10, so that makes sense. Let's do another example where it also works. So I guess like 2, 2, 2, 2. Let's make it hard. So 2, 4, this is 3. So yeah. Okay, so right here, I think this is fine. All right, so here it'd be index 2 as well. Because 2 plus 2, that's 4, and then right here is just 4, right? So yeah. Um, hmm. So yeah. Okay, so let me think. And so example 3, let's do an example where it doesn't work. So let's say 0, 5, and then 1, and then 2, right? So of course we'll return -1 because it says if there's no leftmost pivot index, then we just return -1. In this case, even if we go 0, right, 0 right here, if we go 0 right there, then yeah. Um, wait, I gotta read. So if the index is on the left edge and the left sum is 0, okay, because there's no elements to the left. So that's interesting. Okay. And if that's the case, then we gotta say example 4, or it's the case that 1, this would be true. That would just be 0, because to the left and right of it is 0. So that is interesting. And then same could be said about 1 and 0. No, 1, a 0, and then 1, right? It would be, yeah, it would be 1 in this case. So that's interesting to note. Edges for some left and some right equal to 0. Okay, so that's interesting to note. So yeah. Hmm. So how would this work? How would this work? Well, let's kind of go into some matching phase on what we could do. Well, what I'm thinking about first right now is we're going to have um, a sum where we can get the sum. So yeah, so we can go use a for loop. So for loop, and this will get the get left, and then we can use that to kind of get left and get right. Um, and we can do that. Um, and then the sum would be for the right, and the for loop will be for the left. And then like we can have like I guess like a max. No, we're not getting the max. It has to be equal to each other, right? So if statements equal, right? And I think that's pretty much it. Um, I think we can also have some variables to kind of keep track. So left sum, um, left sum, and right sum to kind of help us with that. Um, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I guess yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and kind of plan how to do this. Um, yeah, I think I would really love to go through this example to kind of get our code done. So first off, we got to initialize. So initialize vars. So I want to have a left sum, and then so left sum equal to 0, and then right sum equal to 0. Um, but I feel like I want to say left sum is equal to the sum of was it nums? I think I want to do it like that first. Um, yeah, and then I want to go through a for loop. So for I in range, starting from 0 all the way to the length of nums, how would this work? Mm, okay, so first off, if we start at index 0, right, we know that our left sum is 0 because there's nothing there. And so we can just compare right off from the bat. So compare. So we can say if left sum is equal to right sum, then we can just return I, right? But that's not the case, right? So then we have to increment. Um, so once we increment, what do? So to increment, we just go, right? Um, so then we say, I think, hmm, okay, so this 5, we're right here. We're not counting the 5 at this current point. So what we do to prepare for the next iteration, we have to say that left. Wait, do we also include right sum? No, we have to subtract I from right because we're it's like it's excluded, right? So we have to say that right sum minus equal to nums at I, right? Then we compare. And then afterwards, we have to add, once done comparing, add. So then we have to say that left sum plus equal to nums at I. And we compare, right? So in this case, we would not compare here. I mean, we would compare. So left sum is 0, and then right sum is 15, 16, right? So 0 is not equal to 16, right? So we just continue. And then um and then we increment. So I is currently at index 1, right? So now once we're there, we're going to subtract this 5 from 16. So it's now 10, 11, right? So 11 and then 5. That's not true. So what's going to happen is we're going to increment, but after we increment, we're going to say that the left sum is going to have this 5 that we have. So now so now left sum is 10. Now we increment to the next index, which is index 2. And then once we increment to index 2, the first thing that we do is we say that we're going to subtract the current index value from the right sum. So now right sum is just 10, and then left is 10, right? So what happens is that it is equal for once. So then we just return I. And then, yeah. And then if we don't return I in the float, we just return -1. And I think this should work. So let's just copy and paste this plan into LeetCode so I can talk about it as I code. Okay, cool. I don't need this. So it looks like it works. I'm pretty sure it would work for this example too. So 0, right sum is equal to nums, is equal to nums, so it's 1. And then subtract I from the right. So yeah, and compare. Yeah, this works. Yeah, this totally works. Um, so still 0. And then compare left and right. Right, so 1. Um, and then once done, left sum plus equal to nums at I, which is 0. And then move on to I. Right sum. Yeah, this works. This totally works. Okay, cool. So yeah, so first off, initialize variables, right? So left sum. Let's limit ls. Ls is equal to 0, and then rs is equal to sum of nums. And then once we're done, we got to iterate through nums. So for I in range, all the way to the length of nums. We're going to first off do our first operation, which is to subtract I from right. So let's say that rs minus equal to nums at I, and then we got to compare. So if ls equal to rs, then we're going to return I because we found a pivot index. But if not, then we're just going to move on to the next one. And after we move on to the next one, we can add in the current index to the left sum. I, nums at I, and then yeah, and then from there we can just return -1 if it doesn't return the pivot index from the for loop. So this should work, hopefully. Okay, accepted. And good. So this is pretty much the average solution to this problem. So I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, I'm very happy that I can just solve it without searching it up. So this is a great sign, hopefully for the interview. So yeah.